No Man's Sky Beyond's experienced a fair few bugs, leading to crashes and even some data loss. Well, here are all of the details for 4 patches that are now available, one of which went live a few hours ago, and a few notes for an upcoming patch. On top of this, there are a few bugs that are a tad soul destroying, and may really hurt your save, especially long-term ones, which are still at large and could happen very easily, so make sure you're looking out and prepared. Hopefully, what has been bugging you most is in here. The first is patch 2.06, where they fixed an instant rendering crash, added improved warnings for GPU issues, improved warnings for Vulkan driver support, fixed incorrect full screen / max size on 4K and scale displays, fix for uninitialized render buffer returned from API. I genuinely have no clue what that even means. Fixed a crash when incorrect number of freighters spawn. Fixed a crash when disconnecting from multiplayer and UI. And lastly for this patch, fixed a crash on the screen for remapping controllers. That being said, at this point you still cannot actually remap. It's rather annoying. I like being able to interact with my thumb on my mouse. Then we move on to patch 2.06b, with a further 11 patch notes, which address some issues in the Nexus as well as memory instability issues. Improved localization. Fixes for more rare crashes in Nexus. Fixes for performance issues within the Nexus and trading posts. Fixes buffer in flight memory issues during loading. Reduced maximum base node count to allow very large bases to load better. I'm unsure about this one. Either it means that they decrease the amount of bases that load on a planet for you, or the more likely that they decrease the amount of things that will try to load in a base, meaning a bit less will load but the game won't make you vomit with frame pacing. Reduce render memory usage to improve stability in high watermark situations. Fix crash for older chipsets without SSE support. Fix cockpit screens and render targets from not rendering after precise Alt-Tab issue. Increase safety around Alt-Tab and windowing. Even with this, I'm experiencing more Alt-Tab crashes than previously. Granted, only 2, but I almost never got them before. Fix will crash during some factory interactions. Improve stability around freighters in multiplayer. Next is patch 2.06c, with just 4 nodes which increase stability and remove a bit of annoyance. Reduce texture quality if it is causing an out-of-memory error. Don't let the VR player punch in places they aren't allowed to use weapons. This is the annoyance I was on about, due to the way it picks up a punch, holding the controller down while gripping, at least with my index controller, was causing a perpetual punching whenever my arm was in a relaxed position, annoying largely due to the sound. Revert to the non-device local heap in low memory situations. Removed misleading version number from the main menu. I did think it was odd that it still said 2.00, but I got it, as having a link to primary beyond patch notes is useful. Patch 2.06d has 6 notes, the first of which deals with something huge that was happening. Though it is only half of the battle, there is also another bug which may have arisen from this patch but also looks like it may have been present from the beginning, which you should definitely look out for, as I don't believe it can be fixed later on. So firstly, the notes. Fixed to prevent issues with base ownership. This one is huge and has affected a lot of people. It is an issue that arises from using the teleporter in the Nexus under certain circumstances. The exact circumstance I do not know, and is very hard to be sure. 2 suspected triggers are being in a joined multiplayer game, which is quite the trigger, with the Nexus being the multiplayer hub, but also doing missions from the Nexus. From what we know, teleporting to the base after triggering would cause the ownership of that particular base to be removed from you. Currently I'm not entirely sure whether this can be fixed at a later date or not, as the files likely don't have the capacity to store former base owners, as switching isn't a supported feature, so be careful with that. As well as that, it can cause your freighter to be deleted. The only known way to revert this is to load up a save or save file backup of a point before the event occurred, so more than ever be sure to back up your save regularly. I personally do this daily for the first month or so of a big update release, and then a few times a week as a general thing usually. There is one further unrelated issue to look out for, but we'll just finish these notes first. Improved messaging for error messaging at startup. Fix for freighter crash related to corrupt ship slot. Fix for crash when game is shutting down on certain GFX cards. Fix for crash failing to initialising graphics card on specific mix of card and driver. Deal with game initialising while minimised. A huge issue that has been made apparent today is regarding Quicksilver. Now, due to a bug, it was possible, and still is, to gain a bit via a bug, but you can lose it all far faster. When you buy blueprints for nanites from one of the Starship Exosuit Multitool or Exocraft researchers on the anomaly, the amount in nanites will not only cost you that in nanites, but also in Quicksilver, meaning a legacy save who had saved up Quicksilver could lose thousands for no gain. I know of no fix for this, and I'd be surprised if former Quicksilver expenditure was tracked within your save file, so don't expect a retroactive fix for this loss. The only thing to do is either spend your Quicksilver first, or don't buy the blueprint technology until it is resolved. PC players who know how much they had, or at all, could retroactively fix the issue themselves by using a save editor, which is what I will be doing. I earn the damn currency, I'm not accepting its loss for nothing. I'm also lucky enough to have recorded everything I've done, so have a record of my levels before loss took place. Console players sadly do not have the luxury of a save editor, so keep an eye on it and maybe just play your new save until it's resolved, and if you have lost an awful lot, hopefully you made a backup. Lastly, there is a new patch on PC Experimental that is in beta. All 4 patches we have gone through so far are live on all platforms. This is the current work in progress. Fixed a networking issue that could cause bad data to be synced between ambient players, and fixed a compatibility issue with a specific revision of Nvidia drivers. I expect this last patch to be added to before it is pushed to public. Also, I will add that I understand these issues can get frustrating, but what can be done is being done. They have released 8 patches, 8, in the first few days of the launch. They are busting their asses to fix these issues as fast as they can as soon as they are made aware of them. I'm seeing a lot of people say that they clearly didn't do any testing, all this could have been avoided. I disagree with that. It seems unreasonable to me. These issues don't show themselves to everyone. You need thousands and thousands of people playing for a lot of these to show up. I'm not sure an open beta is really the kind of thing a small company like HG could pull off, and if they could, I imagine they'd do that. So just play and enjoy your time. Do a new save if you want to keep your legacy nice and safe, and I do recommend that for sure. A new save is the best way to experience a new update, and we'll keep getting patches coming our way. Consider subscribing to keep in the loop on all the latest No Man's Sky news and guides. I'm known for my in-depth guides, you should check them out if you haven't already. Also have a beautiful new website full of information and a great Discord full of awesome people. They are linked in the pinned comment along with my merch store, and all of the links to the official patch notes covered in this video. Have a fantastic day, folks.